Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Deziel and today I want to show you how to customize your skirt block so you don't have this problem. If you have your behind a little more round or the S-way shaped back, your skirt most probably fits like that. So your hip line is not parallel and you have a little excess of fabric below the waist in the back, and it could even run all the way to the front where you feel you have a little pleat. To avoid this problem, some might say just remove it from your back pattern. But if you do so and think about it, you're just going to make this bad fit permanent. The way to fix the problem is the opposite. You have to elongate your center back and also give more fabric horizontal. And today I will show you how to fix it in pattern. First thing to do is to take your skirt block, retrace it and cut it all around for the back and the front. When it's done, you're going to take your ruler, place it 90 degrees from the hip level so it touches pretty much the half distance between the side of the dart and the side seam, and you're going to trace a line from the top to the bottom for both back and front. When these lines are done, you could place your skirt block one next to the other and you'll be able to trace two horizontal lines, square with that one touching the pivot of the back dart and a second one touching the front pivot. And you do it center front to center back. Now we're going to have to cut on these lines, and I'm going to show you how right away. The first one that you have to cut are the vertical line that you trace, so top to the bottom. And the reason of that vertical line is that since we're going to do much bigger modification on the back and the normal block are narrower than the front, I'm going to put them back to even hip measurement. So whatever I'll be removing to the front, I'll be adding it to my back. And in that case, they have a centimeter difference. So I'm going to do the movement, half of that difference. So I'll be removing 5 millimeters to the front and adding 5 millimeters to my back. Now we're ready to start the correction, and I'm going to start by the front because there's smaller correction. Now it's pretty hard to determine exactly the measurement of the correction you have to do. So what I suggest is that you do it with the correction I'm showing you today and make your try-on muslin. Then you'll find out to see if it solves all the problem or if you have to enlarge some of the measurement so it fits properly for you. For this example, I'm going to lower the front waist by 1 centimeter. And the way we're going to do it is by slashing the two horizontal lines that we did ending at the end of the both pivot. You're going to slash from center front all the way to the vertical line that you did. Now to put back the piece at the right level, I suggest you just elongate your center front of the bottom piece. Trace towards the top. Now for this example, I said we have to lower the front waist about 1 centimeter, and we're going to distribute this 1 centimeter in the two lines that we cut. So you're going to measure a first 5 millimeter at two different levels on this bottom piece, and you're going to do the same thing, measure at two different areas on the center piece. Now you'll be able to take the middle piece, overlap the 5 millimeter points, keep your center front on the center front, glue it in position, and do the same thing with the top piece. So add the two 5 millimeter reference and align with the center front. Glue it in position. Now we have two more slashes to do, and it's going to be on the side part of the skirt. So you're going to cut on the two same line, but this time stop at 2 or 3 millimeters before the end of the piece. Now you see that my pieces are still attached, and I'll be able to close but just the vertical line that we traced, keeping my side seam with the original measurement. So you're going to bring the middle piece overlapping this hand only of 5 millimeter, and you're going to do the same thing with the top piece. Bring it all the way until you touch the 5 millimeter down there too, and you could glue them in position. Now you could see that I stick my piece together, but I let it loose on the top part because I want you to check how much did we lose at the waist. So just indicate your line on top at the waist, lift it so you could measure the distance you're overlapping so that you lose at the front waist, and you're going to add it back to your side seam. So if I look over here, I see that I did overlap by 2.4 centimeter. So this 2.4 centimeter I lost, I'm going to add them back to the side seam from the waist point going out 2.4. Then I'm going to retrace my side seam from that point. Then we're going to leave the waist correction for the end. Now let's do the back, where I want to add to the center back a measurement of 4 centimeter. To do it, we're going to start like we did on the front by slashing the 2 horizontal lines that we did, finishing at the level of the pivot of the darts. Then you're going to measure from the bottom line 2 centimeter up, because we're going to distribute the 4 centimeter in those 2 openings. Then just like we did for the front, you're going to elongate the bottom part of the skirt all the way up so you could place your pieces right on the line. Then take the middle piece and place it right on the line on the 2 centimeter and touching the center front, and glue it in place. Then you trace a second line 2 centimeter higher than the middle piece, and you place your top piece on that line touching the center front. Then you glue it on. We're now ready for the side area. We're going to do just like we did also in the front. We're going to slash on both lines until 2 millimeter from the end of the piece. Now, since for the back we have a much bigger correction to do, and we have to respect the side seam, not going out from the side seam, I'm going to ask you to take your ruler, place it 90 degrees from your hip line at the strongest area, and trace a line towards the top so you're sure that you're not going to go over that line. Now the idea is pretty much the same that we did in the front, but in this case we're not going to be able to open as much as we did for the first piece here. So you're going to open, but make sure you don't go over the straight line that you did for the side seam, and distribute your opening so your waist point doesn't go over the line. Doesn't matter if the curve is coming out a little bit, but the waist point cannot go over that line. When it's done, you could glue it in position. Now on the back, you have the opposite result. In the front, it was overlapping. Here, you add some measurement to your back waist. So now I want you to measure the distance between your 2 lines. Here I found 4.5 centimeter. And to close back this measurement, we're going to do 2 things. First, we'll create a second dart, and the rest of the measurement we'll remove it from the side seam. To create the dart, I'm going to do it exactly on this vertical line that I trace. I'm going to do a dart of 2 centimeter. So I will place a centimeter on each side of the line. I'm going to do my dart at the level of the lowest part, so this level. So I will just trace a little line and measure 1 centimeter on each side. For the pivot of that dart, you could use or this point or that one. The longer you do your dart, the less fabric you leave to your skirt. So if your behind is very round, pick the top one and if it's not that much, just pick the lowest one. For this example, I'll use the top one. So we could trace the dart. Now you remember that we did a dart of 2 centimeters, but we had an excess of 4.5. So the other 2.5, I'm going to remove it to the side seam. Now we could trace the back side seam with the new waist point. And when you do trace your side seam, just look at the front one because they should be very similar. Now separate your plant, back and front separate. I even cut it like straight on the side seam, and you're going to flip your pattern to have the waist closer to you. Then the next thing is going to be to fold the top part of the front side seam for about 5 centimeters. Once it's done, you're going to align your side seam with the reference that are at the same level on both back and front, and pivot your front until you reach the waist point of the back, and keep them straight one over the other for the first 5 centimeters. When it's there, you could place 2 pins to hold them in position because we're not finished with the manipulation. Now when your side seam is placed, I'm going to ask you to retrace the side of the dart that is closer to the center and the middle line for both darts. And when you do retrace, just push a little harder than usual. And the reason why I'm asking you to push a little harder on your pen is to make it easier for the folding. This is the next step. You're going to fold on the first line of the dart and first line of the small dart. Then you could fold both of them, bringing the first line over to the last one and pin them in position. Now you will be able to retrace the waistline, but this time it's going to be much more curved, and we're going to do it from about 3 cm on the center back, that has to remain 90 degrees from the center back, to the second side of the front dart. I suggest you do it with a light pencil first, and then you use your French curve to fix your line. Now that the waistline is traced, you could trace with the tracing wheel to get the jog for both back dart, and you'll be able to remove the pin and do the final verification for the waist measurement, because if you notice, we went up a little bit on the side seam, and that might cause a little loss of a few millimeters on the waistline measurement. Remove all the pins, and before fixing my little empty space here on the side seam, I'm going to verify my front waist measurement that was supposed to be 18.5 for this size. So I'm holding my ruler and moving. Here I could see that I'm missing 2 millimeters. So I had my 2 millimeters missing, then I could fix my side seam. I will do my verification now in the back where I had a 17.5 waist. So I'm measuring till the side of the dart, moving my ruler, do the middle part, move the ruler again, and do the last part. Here, pretty much the same thing. I am missing about 2 millimeters. I'm now going to cut all around my new pattern piece. Now you're ready to add your seam allowance and cut your muslin, sew your muslin, try on, and appreciate the work you just did. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I see you next time.